Getting approved for business funding is more than just having a good credit score and an LLC. In this video, I want to speak on something that's a bit more high level, but I promise I'm going to make it tactical for you, which is business credit approvals, more on back end data on things that you don't typically see people talking about on YouTube. Now, one of the reasons why we have this data is because this is literally what we do day in, day out with our clients, where it's not just, hey, let's get access to a simple business credit card today, but how can we continue to get access to capital later on at scale, predictably and sustainably? Credit ratings is something that I wish somebody would have explained to me early on, the way that I'm about to explain it to you in this video. A lot of us spend way too much time on business credit scores, and we're undermining the importance of business credit ratings. Irv, what's the difference? Let me bring it practical. Let's say that you go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, go ahead and step on the scale. You step on the scale. The next patient comes in and you're 170, as an example. They step on the scale and they're 170. At a naked eye view, you would think, oh, they weigh the same, so they must have, they both must be healthy. This is where the metrics comes into play, and this is why we want to pay attention to the business credit ratings. So that's like a business credit score, which doesn't give you the full picture. So both of us can have a 90 on an IntelliScore with Experian. Both of us can have a 90 with a Paydex score with Dun & Bradstreet. But then we're missing the credit rating, which is the following. Now the doctor says, hey, let's take a look at some blood panels because we want to see where your cholesterol's at. We want to see where your testosterone's at. We want to see where, if you're pre-diabetic, we want to see where your blood sugars are at, like everything. That's what you would consider now health markers that they can then use to see how healthy is this person, because now we're actually taking a look at under the hood. So one person is maybe going to be pre-diabetic and the other person is going to maybe have the biomarkers of someone who is 25 years old, even though they're 45. Irv, why are we talking about health? Why are we talking about blood work? Like, why are we getting, a bit more morbid here? Like, what's this all about? That's the same thing that happens on the business credit side when your business credit ratings, which determines how well you've been making your payments on time, the industry that your business is involved in, where you're located at in the country, how many employees are listed in your business, how much revenue you reported in your business, how much revenue actually got reported into the business credit report. Not to mention, there's like 50 other data points that gets calculated inside of your business credit ratings. By the way, this happens for Experian, Dun & Bradstreet, and Equifax. Now, this may not mean much for you, but it sure as heck means a lot to the financial institutions and to the SBA when they're going to extend out a line of credit to you, or when they're going to extend out any form of capital for that matter. So what I always train my clients on is, hey, let's take a look at where our credit ratings are. We simply do that. Well, we do that when we onboard them and we're doing a full audit on their business. But I'll at least give you back of the napkin math on maybe something that you could look at in your own business. And that's pulling the business credit reports and making sure that the data that I just gave you is actually correct and it's actually congruent for what your business actually does. This is something that we do for our clients. But again, if this is something that you're going to do right now, as you watch the video, pause the video or finish watching the video and then pull your business credit reports and see where those ratings are, and then obviously adjust accordingly. Next up is two algorithms. A lot of times we think that the banks or the credit unions just have one algorithm, and they're just looking at your credit score. Now, I don't want to undermine the fact that a credit score on the personal side is 100% viable. It's 100% important. Obviously, why I have it listed here. But the other metric that they're also looking at is going to be the liquidity that you have with them, especially with where the economy is right now at the time of me making this video. Liquidity is one of the easiest ways that you can offset if you don't have the most age in your business. So if your business is under 2 years old, but it's pumping cash flow, guess what? Pumping that cash flow through that business account is going to allow you to increase your internal bank rating with that bank, with that financial institution. And then it also helps offset. Now, I don't want to say this and you think, oh, I can have trash credit. You don't want to have trash credit. It can help offset if you don't have prime, like that prime level credit where it's that 780 plus. If maybe you're sitting in that 720s, not the best credit, that 700 range, one of the ways you can offset that with the second algorithm is by having cash, not just making one 10K deposit into the account, but having cash come in consistently through the bank that you are eventually going to do business with, which in this case, it's to open up a business line of credit with them. I'll give you a little pro tip here that I tell my clients all the time is we don't just want to open up a bank account or a business bank account for that matter with a bank just because it's easy. Just because something is easy and something is low hanging fruit doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. And so like a framework that I'll give you is you want to take a look at which financial institution am I going to have longevity with? Meaning, can I partner with this company and do multiple rounds of funding, not just one? Can I bring in another business, which is whenever we're funding multiple businesses, this is one of the things that we like to look at. Can I bring another LLC or another corporation here, or am I going to be capped at 100K? Am I going to be capped at 80K? Do I have to park $1 million in here just to get something as simple as a 0% business credit card? Geo restrictions, you typically see this a bit more. Well, you see this with banks, but you also see this as well with, I'd say, credit unions. And that's the following. The geo restriction means that if you have a business that's established in Georgia, but then the financial institution that you're looking at and you apply for a business credit card with them, they're only located in, let's say, Kentucky, then you're going to get denied because they have a geo restriction, meaning you either have to, your business has to be domiciled, meaning you have to be doing business in that state, or your business has to be established within a 40 to 50 mile radius of one of their branches. Now, there's a couple workarounds with this. I'll only give you one on here because, I mean, there's so many different ways that we can tackle this. One of the ways that people do this is they'll typically set up a virtual office address in that state. Obviously, at that point, you'd have to set up a foreign entity. The thing that with foreign entities, though, if you set them up wrong, you create what's called a nexus if you're not careful. And a nexus means that you now are potentially held liable to pay taxes in both states. So if you opened up maybe a foreign entity in California and now you're perceived as doing business both in California and in Georgia, like I stated in this example, then you now are held liable to pay what they pay in taxes in Cali, which you know it gets freaking crazy, and then also in Georgia, which is what you want to be really careful with, which is why I don't always recommend the foreign entity up front to get into a partnership with a financial institution when you're looking to get a business line of credit with. There's other ways, but that's more of like what I would consider the easier approach that some people take. You just want to play it safe. Lastly, is your lending appetite, or I should say the bank's lending appetite. There's three main things that go into a lending appetite. This means that it's going to be their willingness of wanting to do business with your industry or with your line of work. Number one, it's going to be the industry. Is your industry inside of their category of companies that they've already been funding? That's the first thing. Second is how many products do they have available for your industry or for your line of work? And then number three is how easy is it for you to establish a partnership with them? Are they going to have you jumping through a ton of hoops? Something that I would want to know. Do I just have to open an account with them, deposit some funds, and then connect my merchant and start having cash flow running through it? Or are they going to ask me for my P&Ls? Are they going to ask me for my bank statements with my other bank? Are they going to ask me for my tax returns? Do they want to pull my tax transcripts? If you are in an industry that a financial institution like a credit union or a bank doesn't necessarily want to partner with, they'll start to want to repel you. One of the things that they'll do to want to repel you is they'll start having you jump through a ton of hoops. Hey, give us this. Hey, give us that. Hey, you missed this part here. Versus they'll, like, when a financial institution wants your business, like they want to date you, they want to get to know you, they'll make it easier for you. They'll say, hey, you know, that's cool. If you don't have this paperwork, that's fine. At least bring in what you have and we'll kind of play, we'll play by ear and we'll see how we can get you in here. Versus you'll know you're getting repelled, which kind of like feels like you're getting rejected. That's when you know, hey, maybe I should take my business elsewhere. Quite literally, maybe I should take my business elsewhere. And this is one of the things that I constantly preach on to my clients on. It doesn't matter how well your business is structured. It doesn't matter where your credit is. If you're dealing with a financial institution that doesn't want to partner with you or doesn't see the vision in your business, then you're not going to get approved for any type of business capital. In fact, I actually did a full training breaking down the 3 different funding options that you could take advantage of in this current market whether you are a brand new business or if you are an existing business. And you can watch that video right here.